What's up, everybody? Dustin Dopirak here. I am shooting this video live at the barn, right on floor level. If you want to see, there it is. Gotta love the elevated courts. Anyway, tried to get Terry Hutchins from the Indy Star to come on with me. He was not down for that, and so I'm going to have to do the always boring task of trying to do this myself. So anyway. Indiana comes to the barn this evening and falls, what is the final score, 67-63 to Minnesota. You know, played relatively well. It was better than they had in recent weeks, but it was yet another case of Indiana, again, to use the cliche, failing to get over the hump. You know, had a couple occasions, had a great 19-3 run in the first half to take a 9-point lead, then squandered that and gave up a 10-0 run midway through the second half. Tried to come back. Seemed like they actually really had a shot there. 7.5 seconds left. Jeremiah Rivers tips an inbounds pass that goes up in the air. Jordan Hulse goes after it with Blake Hoffarber. They call Hulse for a loose ball foul, and it goes to Hoffarber. Hoffarber doesn't tend to miss those, so he made a couple free throws to put that one away. And obviously disappointed for Indiana because for the most part they did what they wanted to do tonight. They really executed the game plan. I went into this one thinking that they would have a real hard time dealing with Minnesota size. Obviously, Jared Solinger did whatever he wanted in the game against Ohio State last Friday. So obviously, they didn't have any answer for him. It didn't seem like they would have any answer for Trevor Mbakwe or Ralph Sampson III and Colton Iverson. That's a lot of height that Minnesota can throw at you. But they really kept those guys mostly in check. I mean, Mbakwe again is pretty much going to get his. He got 11 points, 16 rebounds. But he actually got 7 of his points in the first 3.5 minutes. After that, he finished 4 for 12 from the field. I don't know, exactly what he was after that point, but really only scored 4 points the rest of the way. So they kept him in check. Jeremiah Rivers did a marvelous job defending on him. It was obviously Rivers is listed at 6'5". Who knows if he actually is 6'5"? But he got down the paint with 6'8", 240-pound Mbakwe, and really gave him some trouble. Indiana obviously also used a lot of zone in the first half, turned those into a bunch of turnovers that led to some fast break baskets, and that really kept them in the game. They were in control. But in the second half, they had to go straight man. Tom Crean said he didn't want to mess with Blake Hoffarber with the zone. Hoffarber came out for 7 minutes in the first half, played the entire second half. So they stuck in man the whole way, and they just had some major breakdowns during a 10-0 run. It was another issue of them just not defending the dribble extremely well. 2 really easy baskets to stand out. Rodney Williams, had a pretty just sick, ridiculous, nasty dunk when he just kind of drove by his defender and just saw nobody. Alan Nolan also had a pretty easy layup. Just kind of broke down Maurice Creek, who's still just not quite there when it comes to man-to-man defense, just because of the knee injury. Just broke him down and didn't see anybody after that. Came in with an easy layup, and so there was a bunch of those during that stretch that turned into an issue. So those are kind of the same breakdowns that Tom Crean has been dealing with, been complaining about for much of this year, and those things continue. And you just keep saying we don't have a big margin for error here. We don't have the ability to give up those have those kinds of situations where we have a defensive lull, because we're not going to be able to keep a lead that way, and they didn't. So it's another one of those cases. And offensively, they didn't have a horrible night, but they didn't have a good night either. Christian Watford was pretty much ugly, 2 for 13. Had probably, I'm not sure if this was worse than the Penn State game. Maybe it was worse because he was actually healthy. Maurice Creek hit a couple baskets, still doesn't look like himself. Riddell Jones still committing had committed 4 turnovers, probably should have been 5. So he's still figuring it out. So there's not a lot of margin for error this team, because they're not doing much well offensively, and they defended so well for much of this game, and then just completely fell off. So that's 5 straight now, and at least this shows some hope, because this obviously was a Minnesota team that just fell out of the top 25 and playing really well. Even though they didn't have DeVoe Joseph tonight, they it had shown that they're at least on the fringe of being a top 25 team. So that looks promising, but in the same way, it's another loss. Now they got to go on the road again, go out to Northwestern against a team that really shoots it well, and that's a team that can make it ugly quick if they start hitting shots, especially John Scherner gets going. So it is a question of when and how exactly can Indiana get over the hump in one of these games, stop the bleeding, and and get a victory. And if they don't, how long can they go before things start really snowballing and they start coming into the games like these, without the confidence. So again, one more time, IU, keeps it close, fails to get one, and we'll see where they go from here. and that's 5 minutes, and that's about all I can get out of just sitting here talking to a camera by myself. So anyway, see you guys later this week. Thanks.